Alright, what's going on? I'm back with another replay cast. Playing as the Wood Elves again. This time we're matched up against Khorne, and we are on the Eye in the North. So I'm bringing Durthu, big tree man here, as my lord. We've got, what spells we got on him? But Wiston's Wild Form and Pan's Impenetrable Pelt. So the Pelt one is one that I haven't brought before, at least not that I can recall having used, and I've been really working on just testing out different types of abilities and whatnot. I have a tendency to use the same ones over and over again, so I want to experiment some more. So I'm using those spells. As far as units, I've got 3 squads of Glade Guard with Starfire Shafts. These ones is these are the variants that have some fire damage, magic ammunition, and armor piercing missiles as opposed to non-armor piercing. So brought those because Khorne oftentimes has decently armored infantry. Got 3 squads of Eternal Guard. None of them have shields on them because Khorne usually doesn't have too much ranged units. And then I've got some Wildwood Rangers and Blade Singers as kind of some elite infantry. That'll be one of my more expensive units on the field. So for my opponent, see they've got 2 squads of Marauder Horsemen with throwing axes off on the flank here. Their lord is going to be Valkia the Bloody. They've got 2 squads of Marauders of Khorne with dual weapons, Chaos Warriors with dual weapons all on the front line, Standard Marauders on the flank, and some Bloodletters on the flank. So put this into overdrive to start. Get the approach set up. So pretty typical start for me. Going for points 2 and 1, given that they're closer to my spawn point. And I didn't have too much mobility in the form of cavalry and whatnot, so my intention was to get down here, kind of plug up each of these holes with the Eternal Guard, get shooting in down on this point and over here, defend them off, and see how it goes. So got some Marauders with dual weapons coming downhill here. 3 squads of them, actually 2 squads of Marauders and a squad of Chaos Warriors coming from the right side. Chaos Furies coming around the flank, another squad of them as well. See, I'm running my Blade Singers over here, seeing this on the way so that my Glade Guard don't get shut down too hard. Eternal Guard is starting to come this way to help them out. Decent charge damage actually, it's more than I would have expected from Furies. Yeah, they only have 26 charge, but they've got pretty good melee attack, so pretty good amount of damage on the Glade Guard. Only lost 2 models there, I believe. I want to say they start with 75. Is that correct? No, that was actually 7 models, so decent damage from them. Marauders of Khorne coming uphill, going to be running into the Wildwood Rangers. The Marauders are somewhat lightly armored, so the armor piercing from the Wildwood Rangers is nice, but it's not super necessary against these troops. Starfire Shaft shooting in against these Marauders on this side. Eternal Guard is just going to hold that ground. Durthu's on the way, looking to get into the mix. We're going to have him jump on top of some of these infantry. Good damage I put from this guy. 75 melee attack is pretty large. Spell or ability coming in. What is that? I'm not sure what ability that was, but some kind of ability coming down from Valkia the Bloody. Cut through those Eternal Guard. Durthu's jumping in the mix. We got some more Furies jumping on top of my Glade Guard. This is something that I'm learning, is I really gotta, and I talked about this on the last matchup I believe, and still didn't really learn my lesson with these flying units. I really gotta have some cheap cavalry or something in the backfield to protect my shooting. But what else that's very necessary. But dealing with these Furies over here, getting these ones chased off. The Blade Singers are cutting through them pretty quickly. Got some more reinforcements. Again, Starfire Shafts getting some shots off. Durthu is actually taking a significant amount of damage. I guess that's coming from Valkia with her anti-large armor piercing. She's got some pretty good combat stats as well. Got Marauders with throwing axes working their way around. They ended up going all the way around this side. I guess once they realized they weren't going to be able to do too much work over here with the Eternal Guard in the way and the Starfire Shafts behind them. Squad of War Dancers coming in to deal with these Flesh Hounds. And the Flesh Hounds are actually doing a good amount of damage to them. They have 38 melee attack. I guess they got a good charge off. Got some Blade Guards shooting in to support. Marauders with throwing axes, kind of just skirting around, trying to stay away from the War Dancers and the Eternal Guard, but getting their missile shots in. Again, I did not bring the shielded variant from the Eternal Guard, so they're going to be doing some decent damage against them, punching through the armor that the Eternal Guard do have. Durthu's down to almost half health there. Fleshhounds are kind of getting chased off. More Marauder Horsemen. Look like they're going to get a charge in on these Blade Guard, but we'll see if I bring in a summon to deal with that. They're getting flanking shots off from over here. There you go. Actually, War Dancers coming in to support, chasing them off. Other squad's kind of stuck up in this pocket from the rest of the War Dancers and whatnot, but still roaming around, just getting some missiles shot off. Eternal Guard sitting here parked. Got some Wildwood Rangers coming downhill, and these Chaos Warriors. The armor piercing is going to come a little bit more into play here against these guys. They got 110 armor, whereas the Marauders, I want to say, only have 30 or so. Looks like we got a summon coming down from my opponent. Is that Bloodletters of Khorne, so they're going to be doing pretty good. Kind of a good competitor against some of the good anti-infantry troop that I have here. Durthu is pretty well beaten up, so I'm going to need to get him out of here pretty quickly before Valkia is able to take him out. My opponent has a Cultist of Khorne as well on foot, so this guy, pretty good weapon strength, no significant amount of armor piercing, at least to get the symbols show up. I'm actually going to take a look at that. 152, so that's decent armor piercing value, but it's about a third of what he's putting out. Starfire Shaft shooting in at some Marauders in the backfield. Furies, of course, jumping on top of my shooting. It's going to be a theme of this match that you'll see. Blade Singers coming in to jump on top of these and push them off the Blade Guard. Durthu is backing up. My opponent has got control of point 2. I've not been able to wrestle that away from him. He, of course, has point 3 as well. I still have control of point 1 at this time. Fury's getting chased off. He's slightly ahead in gold value. I've got a couple more units on the field, but as far as the value of them, just a little bit behind. Got some more Blade Guard fleeing off. Looks like these guys got pretty beat up by those Furies that had dove in, although the Eternal Guard and the other squad of Blade Guard were able to get them off. Squad of Chaos Warriors jumping in to flank my Wildwood Rangers. I had them over on this kind of ramp, and they went into get into this mix, and unfortunately for them, they're going to get surrounded here. Marauders, Chaos Warriors, Marauders. So that's going to be a little bit of a last stand moment over there on point 2 for them. Not able to get capture weight on there. Starfire Shaft Blade Guard shooting in at Valkia. She's got pretty good armor, so luckily this variant is going to be able to do a little bit of good damage on her. Got some War Dancers over here fighting with the Marauders of Khorne. They've got armor piercing damage, but they are anti-large, so probably not the best use of them. But they've been running around in this backfield, these War Dancers, trying to deal with the Fleshhounds and with the Marauder Horsemen that have been causing me a lot of trouble in the backfield. So pretty hefty infantry presence from my opponent on point 2. Got some Forsaken on the way. Gotta have to keep an eye out on whether or not these Forsaken come downhill over here or look to threaten point 1. Eternal Guard are gonna struggle with them. These guys are pretty good against infantry. At least they don't have the anti-infantry you call icon here, but I'm quite sure that Forsaken generally have the anti-infantry on them. Maybe the Forsaken of Khorne are slightly different. I'm probably thinking of when I was playing as Zinch, and that was one of the buffs on them. But either way, charging over towards the Eternal Guard. Fleshhound still in the backfield, threatening the Blade Guard and the shooting. Blade Singers trying to get them away. The Fleshhounds are actually large, so they're not like the standard Warhound type of units. So Blade Singers are actually not going to be the best counter to them. Maybe you want to run them off and deal with some Marauders or something, but nevertheless, they're going to collapse on these guys with the Eternal Guard. In fact, are these Eternal Guard going elsewhere? No, it's just the flag is hanging back. But they are on an attack order against them. Marauders coming around the other side as well. Valkia charging in, getting into the mix. The War Dancers are not going to have bonus damage against her because she is infantry size. Although she's flying and is somewhat large, just with the span of her wings and whatnot, she is infantry size. So you have spear units and things like that, they're not getting a bonus against her. Chaos Furies jumping on top of the Glade Guard that are on the ramp. The Blade Singers had made their way over to point 2 and are dealing well with some of these infantry down here. This is the kind of fight you want to have them in. Chaos Warriors, double Chaos Warriors actually. So with the anti-infantry and with the armor piercing damage, they're going to be performing well down there. Valkia is still helping these Bloodletters deal with the Glade Guard. Durthu is pretty well beaten up. He hasn't taken too much damage from the initial engagement, but I'm trying to keep him away from Valkia. That's the main thing that I'm seeing as a threat to him. The Marauders with throwing axes could deal a good damage against him, but right now there's not any on the field. Got some more Glade Guard coming onto the field for reinforcements. Of course, Chaos Furies jumping onto this squad, and you can see my opponent is still not a ton ahead on gold value, but really, like I've mentioned before, a consistency here is that the Furies are jumping on top of the Glade Guard and are preventing them from really getting some good shooting off. And had I brought some more cavalry, or cavalry at all, I don't think I have any cavalry in my roster, that could have been dealt with so differently. So at this point, this match is a foregone conclusion. Although I have some more troops on the field than my opponent, he's got some more value. My Lord is pretty beat up. Valkia is kind of just flying around, being a terror for Durthu and really dictating on where I can move him on the field. And I'm not being able to get presence on a point 2 or point 3. So victory points are coming into play here. About 2/3 of the way done. So I'm going to fast forward through the rest of this. And again, Fury is just giving me a big headache. That's a lesson I really got to learn. But either way, pretty good play by my opponent. He really took advantage of that weakness in my roster and did a good job of controlling the field. I feel like the Blade Singers and the Eternal Guard and whatnot did pretty well in combat. You see Durthu going down to Valkia there, no surprise. Opponents pulling ahead on gold value here, and that'll be it. I should have surrendered this. I don't know what I was doing playing this whole thing through. I probably could have surrendered this when my opponent had around 1,000 points, which is just about when I started fast forwarding here. But either way, well played at my opponent again. Let's take a look at the gold value and whatnot. So for Durthu, barely got anything done. Blade Singers got okay value. They were a resummon though, I believe. Wildwood Rangers didn't get too much done considering their cost. Glade Guard with Starfire Shafts didn't perform too well, given how much they cost. Eternal Guard pulled their weight. Some of these might have been resummons, but they did alright. Yeah, Blade Singers did a lot of the damage for me. War Dancers did not do great. The War Dancers actually did horrifically considering how much they cost. That's something I'll have to keep in mind for Khorne matchups as this faction in the future. Seems like if you're not getting them on top of some kind of high value cavalry target, then they are not worth bringing. And I'm not quite sure what I was thinking with bringing a bunch of War Dancers. Backup Blade Guard didn't do great either. These guys got okay value, but again, overall they were shut down a lot by the flying. Valkia, a lot of damage value there. I'm not sure how much she cost, but pretty good damage there. Cultist didn't get too much done. I'm not sure what he got shut down. He might have gotten in the mix with some of my Blade Singers at some time, but let's see. So Chaos Warriors with dual weapons did alright. This squad did pretty good damage. Bloodletters, huge points from them. Nothing special from the Marauders. Forsaken didn't do too much. The Furies really were the shining stars. These Minotaurs, I don't even know where they came in. I'm not sure if they were summoned late in the game. I don't remember seeing much of them during the combat. Fleshhounds. So again, you're seeing me getting punished again for not having sweeping units in the backfield. And the reason I'm pointing that out is Fleshhounds and Furies both had a lot of value. And to me, from what you saw in the match and in the gold value, they were getting on top of my high value shooting units and preventing them from doing their thing. And I did not have the mobility with my other units to deal with that. So there we go. That'll be that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.